right, so now I'm going to show you the next step in our plat project. So I asked you all to go ahead and label a lot of this information. I haven't yet, so you won't see it on my screen. But I did find the survey file that goes with this project that has a lot of this information in it. So I'm going to go ahead and XREF that in and take a look at that. So let me move this off to the side for right now. And here's my base file. I did change the background color. Hopefully it looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit clearer for you all to see. I'm not sure. Let me know if this looks better or not. I'm going to go ahead and try this color right now. So I'm going to type in XREF, and I am going to go out and attach the drawing. So as soon as it pops up, so it's going to be called Lab 6 Survey, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. You'll have to do a bit of work of cleanup. Note when you bring it in, one, I put it on the wrong line, so let me cancel this out. I want it on a line called, there's a lot of layers in here, and that's something that may or may not happen to you when you work in a company. It happens to me all the time. So I'm going to do a layer. And I like to put that at 0. This is all preference, FAU, XREF. I'm going to make that one current. All right. And that just allows me to bring the drawing in on a layer that I can manipulate. Okay, I'm going to attach my drawing. I'm going to attach the survey and then open. Make sure it's overlay. The scale, don't do anything to this, let it bring in. Always make sure when you're looking at it, if you're looking at the unit block, if it says anything other than a factor of 1, it can say unitless or it can say feet, but it can't say anything else. If it does, then you've got a scale issue. Okay. All right, we don't need a lot of this information. We do need some of this information. So it does allow us to bring in the line work that I was showing you before on the plat. So I've got these lines now being brought in. So what I could do is, to make my life a little bit simpler, instead of having to freeze everything off, I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually open up this XREF and take what I want out of it, so I don't have to deal with the contours and all that, because that doesn't belong in the plat. So I'm actually going to click on the XREF itself. Notice you have the options to edit in place, open the XREF. I am going to open the XREF. You can also right click and open the XREF. All right, now I'm going to freeze off the stuff that I don't need, and then I'm going to copy and paste what I want. I don't need the contours. I don't need the spot grades. Now here's the problem. The spot grades are on a current layer. So let's pick a layer, Site V boundary, and make it current, because we'll keep that. We'll bring it in. It'll make sure that we're bringing in the, this must be on layer 0. No, it's a block. Why can't I freeze that block? Come up here and freeze. Oh, it is on layer 0. All right, so it's also on points in. So type LA, and sometimes you do have to do this. It's frustrating, I know. So PNT, and I'm just going to freeze them this way. I'm going to freeze all the points. Okay, so that got rid of those. Civil 3D does that. It puts some things on layer 0 and you can't freeze them off. I'm going to freeze off that. I'm going to freeze off the pump station. I'm going to keep this text so I don't have to type it myself. I'm going to keep all these pieces of text. Now, notice in this survey, it is text. It's not actually Civil 3D data. Now, I'm going to keep the benchmark. I'm going to keep all this information. That is a point, a control point. I don't want those. Let me see if I can actually freeze that off. Okay, I can freeze that off. It's not even on my project, but I like to try to keep things nice and neat. I don't need that. I think I am good. I also don't need this piece of text, but I am going to move it over here just to get it out of the way. All right, now that I've got all this information, I am going to select it all. So I picked it all. Now I'm gonna, on my keyboard, I'm gonna go Control C, Control Copy. That's fine. Now I am going to come over here to my lab, part 3. And I'm gonna XREF, and I'm gonna unload that for right now. Unload. All right, and then I'm going to come up here on the Home tab, paste to original coordinates, and they should fall in perfectly. Okay, so now you can see where the lot 11 was I was explaining about. You can see the information that I had asked y'all to copy. So you can take a look at this here, and we can see what's, let me see if I can put this stacked 2 by 2 or side by side. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I've got them stacked side by side. So if I'm looking at this, I'm interested in this area. We can see that they have that labeled. You can see that this is labeled. You can see this information up here is labeled. We do have additional labels here, so we'll need to add that. So the east right-of-way line. You can see that our label, you know, if I pull this out, is the exact same one. So I'm going to delete their old label. I don't need theirs. What else is on here? So notice that they have the west line of the north quarter of section 30, 25, 27. That's not on there, but we would need to label that. We don't need the owner's name. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to clean this up per se right now because I want to get to the meat of the information. You all can do the text. I'm not going to make you all watch me clean up text, but I do anticipate you having this completed. Notice when we're doing the plat, the whole purpose of the plat is so we can get rid of this lot 11, lot 12, and part of lot 13, and a part of lot 14, and turn it actually into the plat that looks like this. So basically in the plat process, what we're doing is we're removing these lots and recreating, when I say lots, lot 11, this big lot, and this big lot 12, and we're recreating all these individual parcels, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at our page 2 and see how that looks. Also, when you're doing this, it's all about aesthetics when you're doing plats too. So you have to see if the text is right. I am going to change the color because, like I said, the color is bothering me. So let me show you all how to do this if you don't already. I typed in OP in the command bar. I'm going to go to colors. And I'm going to come down and select a color. Now, your options are you can actually use the index color that looks like this, or you can use the true color. What I did is I actually used the true color on the other one, and I came up with, you know, I just picked something that looked good to me. I don't like that though. So it's like an option for you all, however you want to do it. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this for right now. All right, so we can see our text. We know that we don't need this piece of text here. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'm actually going to freeze off this label. So now I don't have to worry about their labels. I do need, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the fruit company. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these text because I don't need them. If I ever needed them, I could always go back to the original survey and go back and get them. I'm going to open this back up, see what else. I'm going to take off the acreage. Actually, it's all one piece. I also want that bigger. So printing wise, here's the thing. All right, so these aren't annotative, so we have to think about the size. We want the text to show up at least a 0.08 to a 0.1 in height. So that means if I've got a 100 scale and I want a 0.1, then this should be, and don't hold me to this should be 10, okay? And I use the match properties, MA, enter, and then, you know, I can match this. And what that is allowing me to do, go to paper. This is locked at 100. If I actually measured this, and I just kind of eyeballing it right now. If I measured the height of this to the top of this and came over, see how it measures out at 0.1? That's how I know what scale that I want. The largest that usually looks good is, let's say the track names are 0.1 and maybe the road centerline names are 0.12 or something like that. Also notice in my plat there's no center line, and this is Stick Street and Drop Shot Drive. So let's put that text in there. Let me go ahead through here and home, and through this viewport I want to freeze this. It's going to be on in the second view, so I got to go to paper space. And I'm going to freeze it off through here. And I'm going to trim this because take a look. The reason I'm trimming that is there's no line coming through here. Okay, so that is basically a lot line that I don't need anymore. And it should get trimmed off up here. So TR for trim. And I'm going to get rid of that line. And I'm going to delete that line. So that looks good. I'm going to delete this line because it's not needed anymore because we're removing the plat. So step by step, we are getting closer to what this looks like. So notice the size of the text. So the tracks are one size. These should have technically been the same size in my opinion, but it's all good. So I'm going to copy this. CO. Sometimes I type too fast. When you see that error pop up and it says recover, then you might want to do an audit. So I'm going to rotate this text. You can also rotate text just by going 90 here. And then Stick Street, sorry. Short-term memory issues. Double click. All right, so let's make that one bigger. So if I wanted 0.12, then it would be 12, okay? Like that. It also says I can copy this. I'm going to put it right under it because I want a different size. So this is going to go back down to 10. And I'm going to call this Tract E. Okay. So now I can copy this. I'm not going to show you every step. Because you'd get bored watching me, but I do want to show you a few of, you know, how I do things. You can do it however you wish. The end result is what matters. And this was drop shot. Drive. I'll notice all of them are tracked E, and they're all tracked E because they are all connected. Notice tracked G is different. Now, why would they be different? Well, different people are going to be maintaining them. Track G might be the overall master boulevard or master HOA, and the interior streets might be a different HOA. Just be aware of that. So this is also drive. Okay, so that's kind of getting the text on. And let's take a look at what else. So also in this, I'm going to squish this down so I can have both of these open. Okay, so also in this, I'm not going to worry about this over here. I don't have that information, and I'm not going to pull it up for you all. I do have this information. What I give you is what we'll use. Now I want to make a key map. Okay, notice it has sheet 3, sheet 4, and there's the division line. So let me show you how to make the key sheet. Now the key sheet's pretty simple. It is just going to, let me get out of there. I'm going to close my properties down for right now. Notice that this line is solid and it has information on this side and this side. We don't need this. Delete. And the reason we don't need that is because it's not going to be lot 14 anymore. They did hatch the wetland. Again, add the information. They did leave this. I deleted it because to me it doesn't really, it's not part of the plat. It really shouldn't have been on there, but it's all choice. They do have the blocks and lots down here, and we can just kind of like put those in there label wise, but I'm just going to leave it as is for right now. Y'all can clean it up and make it look similar or basically the same as this one. Notice that in this picture, the right-of-way lines, this right-of-way line here, I'm going to bring my properties back, is PC right-of-way, and it's hidden. Now, here's the cool thing, is since we're working through the viewport, we can change the viewport colors, we can change the viewport layers. Here's how to manage that. So it was called short-term memory issue. It was called PC row. PC, not PR, PC dash row. Okay, in the viewport, I don't want it centered. I want it to be a continuous line, okay, like they have it. And I'm going to take the phantom and I'm going to make that one continuous also, but only through the PC viewport, which is kind of nice. Let me close out of that. So there's my line work there. This is a different, so the approximate wetland. Notice the hidden line versus this dashed here. You can check your LTS scale, LTS, the line type scale. Some people put it at 0.5. Other people put it at 1. For this one to match, its LTS is at 0.5. So we're going to go with LTS at 0.5, line type scale at 0.5. Go ahead and label your lots like you do in here. There is a line, if you type in, if you type in LA, and let me cancel out of that, a lot of select all. There's a lot of information still on there. The lot numbers are still in there. They are connected, so that's just M text. Okay, you could use that, but it's a bit big, so you'd have to. And it's on. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and use it. PC lot number. LA, let's just undo. Escape U, and then type in over here, PC, and then there's the lot number, so let's unfreeze that. Here's another command that's really nice. Select one of them, right click, and select similar. And let's make that text size. Let me get that out of the way so I can see what text size. It's 10 right now. Let's change that to 7. All right. And the other thing that I want to do is see how, I'm going to move this over to the side. See how it kind of went wonky through here? I don't like that. If we do a, I think it's this one, line space dimension 12, let's do 8. Okay, that just squishes them together, which is fine. Put that back to 12. There should be a width. Oh, there's the width. So let me check what one of these widths is. Notice this width is 38, 38.8. So I'm going to go select similar, and I'm going to change this to 35. Makes everybody stacked. All right, notice it didn't stack these here. I am going to change it to 30. There we go. And I'm going to change that to 10. And I am going to, they all should be centered. That just looks a little odd. It looks like there's a space in that one. But we can use that. It might be a bit big, but let's change that to 6. And let's change that to 20. All right, so that's better. For the 100 scale, so 0.6 isn't tiny, but this isn't the whole purpose of this plan. Okay. All right. So I am going to get rid of this one. I'm going to get rid of that. So I can see all that. You can also notice that this is trimmed off here. So I'm going to trim this off here. Delete that. And that says approximate wetland. I'm going to delete that. And that is tract J wetland. So tract J wetland. And that one was tract D park area. I'm only going to do a few of these. Again, you all can do this. You don't have to watch me. Tract D park area. Okay. You can also hatch. If you hatch with a piece of text, usually, unless I'm wrong about this, let's try hatch, H for hatch. And then it says pick an internal point or select the object. Because this isn't a closed polyline, I have to pick an internal point. So I'm going to pick that. Okay. Notice how it wraps it around it, which is fine. Now I'm going to escape. Now I really should put this on a wetland. So I am going to just do approximate wetland. It is, depending on whose color scheme, when you're printing, I'm going to turn it to white. LA. So APROX star. I should have just always try to do proper layer management, that you don't change the color like I just did. That's not good layer management. Move this out of the way. Because you like to see by layer here, not picked individual colors, because that's going to frustrate somebody later. You can change the pattern. You can change it up here. You can change it over here. I'm big on my properties palette. You know that. When that pops up, I can change the hatch pattern. That hatch pattern is grass, I believe. Grass. Okay. You'll have to change the scale. That scale's too big. I'm going to go with 100 because that's the scale. Ooh, 100's too big. So let's go with 25. There we go. 25 looks pretty good. So it kind of looks similar to theirs over here. Okay. Notice that this line is also a solid line. This one is the approximate wetland. I drew that. So let's change and come back here. And I'm going to change that. That's actually should have been a boundary line, the boundary line. So I'm going to just change that. MA. I'm going to match MA. I'm going to match this one with this one. Display order, send to the back. One more time. 0 boundary. MA. Sometimes I use 0 FAU or 0. 0 just puts it out to the top. That's what it should have been. Okay. Also notice that the lot lines, the PC lot lines are all solid. So I'm going to do LA and I'm going to come over here and go PC star dash, oops, dash star. There's lot number, lot line. I'm going to change that to continuous. I'm doing it in not through the viewport, but everybody should have been continuous to begin with. So there is a proper. So the hidden's still hidden. Notice that that should have continued because that's a 10-foot easement. So I am going to I'm going to offset that. Here's another thing that is interesting to help you all draft a little bit better. I'm going to make this layer current, make that current. And then when you type offset, you can pick layer and you can say current. And then I'm going to type in 10. And when I pick the object, it puts it on the right layer. Just FYI. I'm going to trim. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to extend because that line goes all the way out. So there's that. But I did want to show you the offset command, which is kind of useful. All right. I am going to get rid of that. So before I stop on this video, I want to show you, like I said before, I want to show you how to do this key map. So I'm going to go to the model file. All right. And I am going to isolate this information. I'm going to type in lay ISO. All right. Let me go back to that. So in here, I need to isolate a few more things. Okay. Let me squish this. All right, so undo that. Okay. Lay ISO. And the reason they do the key map is just to get everybody understanding where they're at. It's like a cheat sheet to location. Okay. All right. That should be good enough. So those are the areas that I'm going to isolate. Now, I am going to do a highlight this and go Control Copy, Control C. Now I am going to go make this. I'm going to make it a block, and to do that, all you have to do is come up to paste and paste as a block over here. Now the reason I did that is I can double click on it, open it up, and get rid of or change everything to a style or color. So I'm going to highlight everything here, and this is because this is just a picture. I am going to turn everything white, Okay. And I am going to save the block, and I'm going to close the block editor. And then I'm going to go lay on ISO. Okay, now I have this nice block, you know, it's one solid object, and I can do whatever I want with it. Okay, so I am actually going to go Control X. I'm going to cut it from here, and I am going to paste it. Double click out here, Control paste it out here. It's still the same size, so I'm just going to reduce the size of this to be something like, let's say let's go 0.01 and 0.01. I can always scale it back up if I'm wrong. Okay, that is wrong. So I'm going to need to make it even smaller. So maybe 0.005. I think that might be too small, but no, I'm getting there. 0.05. All right. So I'm going to move this over. I'm getting this sheet 2 looking more like the plat. Move this over. It's probably even smaller than that. Let's go 0.001 and 1. Oh, that's a bit too small. I'm going to go 2.5. If y'all have a different way of doing it, especially the guys that are already in the industry, by all means, do it however you wish. But basically, we have to get a key map. So I'm going to write, and I'm going to go REC for rectangle. And basically, I'm just going to draw a rectangle around this. That should be, notice that should have been a solid line. Everything in that key map was a solid line. And there was no hatch. The lot numbers you can't see. I'm not putting the lot numbers on there. Just FYI. All right. So I am going to double click on it and then go OK. I'm going to get rid of the hatch. Delete that hatch. Now, since this is a block that I'm not changing, I'm going to highlight everything, and I'm going to change the line type to continuous. All right, save the block, close the block, and then OK. And then I'm going to create another line, midpoint and perpendicular. See what where they had their split. Okay, so it's one lot up. So I'm going to move that up to there. Okay, this is my key sheet. Notice up here I have, I have also the plat book and page number. You all should have created that. So I'm going to do a rectangle. There is an actual size to that. Right now I'm just going to eyeball it in. MA for match. I'm not doing my best on layer management. So you'll have a north arrow. Now I do want to show you this also. Let me squish this back down. You can do however north arrow you like. When you've got a viewport, you can come up here. It's going to be on a tab called layout, I believe. Yeah, layout. I'm going to squish that back down. You can pull down and you can pick any north arrow you want. And then you pick the viewport and it creates the north arrow for you. Okay. It also puts it on, I'm not sure. I'm going to do 0 and I'm going to put it on the boundary. You can put it on a north arrow boundary. The nice thing is this arrow follows whatever rotation the view actually is in. I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to scale that up to 2. That's not what I wanted to do. All right, maybe 2.5. All right. So there's your scale. There are scales here also, the scale bar. You don't want metric, absolutely not. You've got imperial, you've got various styles of imperial. This one the guys just drew themselves. This one isn't anything special. You also have, you can also make a dynamic block, but I'm just going to bring in this scale bar here. And you select it. And I don't know why it came into meters. It's not what I was looking for. I think it'd be easier just to create your own. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to show you real quick how to create a scale bar. So it's only 200 feet. So 1 inch equals 100 feet. So if I draw this, and this is to scale, PL, so 1 inch. So I'm actually going to just draw 1 inch. And then another inch. And then I'm going to draw down 1/4 inch. 1 inch. And then I'm going to do a half. 0.5. And then 0.25 and 0.25. Notice it's all on the same line, and I can go close. MA. I really should get on the right layer. Let me do that. Home. Is that 0? Yeah, I'll put it on 0 layer for right now. That's fine. All right, so what I did by doing all those measurements, there is 1 inch, and I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint here to the midpoint here. Most companies already have these set up, but I'm just showing you. And perpendicular. And I'm going to copy this. Mid between 2 points. Midpoint. All right, so I'm going to extend that up. I'm going to hatch, and then I'm going to pick these points here. All right. Notice that when you hatch, that it all is one hatch. And then you just, draw a line, just littles. F3, turn that off. Copy. From here to here to here. And then you can get a piece of text. Sometimes I copy text. I go Control C, Control V. The text is huge, but I just like to make sure that all the text styles are the same, and I'm going to go 0.07 because that's the height that I want it in Paperspace, F8. And F3. Well, it would help if I actually moved it. Where did that text go? Oh, it's huge. Not my best move, but that's getting there. Now I'll move it. So you can do it however you wish. It's just text. All right, you finish that up. I'm not going to make you watch me do the rest of that. Finish that up, type in graphic scale, maybe that text height is, if that is 7, then that should be at least 8. And then go ahead and put the sheet numbers on there like we have it. Go ahead and have the information up here. If you don't have it, give it your own company name down here. And again, copy the information that shows up, again, not this, but the remainder of it. All right, that's it for this video.